questions that we're going to be answering, we're asking you. So please make sure that you're sharing this and that you're ready to participate. If you happen to be driving, keep driving. Don't do that. So we don't want to interrupt that. Now, with even a couple of minutes to spare, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name again is Trenace Richardson, and I am so honored to share this time with you with not only our lead facilitators of the Prince George's County Sister Circle for Real Women, but our directors of facilitators. And we'll talk a little bit about kind of what that means. That'll get us into the 8 o'clock hour. We are Real Women, and we exist to create safe spaces for women to do personal development work on themselves. We host live and virtual sister circles, and we also have connectors that help us get connected to a new geographical area. We have all access members who are connected with us, not just in a sister circle, but we stay connected all week, all month, all year long. And so there are different ways that we stay connected. And we also have partners and donors in case we are a nonprofit. So in case you're looking for a worthy cause to connect with and to invest in, we are that cause. So we really hope to be the community that you connect with, at least on a weekly basis here. We're normally here on Tuesdays at 8 p.m., but we were so excited. We had some technical difficulties last week, and we just decided to pop in early in your week to share some goodies with you because my girls are here. Yes. Okay, so it's 8 o'clock now. I can stop all the preliminaries and and ask you all to please introduce yourselves. And let me just preface it by saying, these are not just women that I do life with. They are women that I respect and admire greatly. They pour into me. They constantly give me aha moments. They help wipe some tears off of my eyes, hug me real tight. And I am just so grateful to be able to do life and do business with them. So I don't know which one of y'all want to start, but if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves to the people.
Go ahead.
So my name is Siobhan Carter. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida, Duval. And I have been a member of Real Women since September 2013 when it started, and it has really been life-changing for me. To see myself in this space is just a testament to what the work that I've been doing as a part of Real Women and just how amazing the organization is. As I started out very lost, not knowing what I was going to do, had just gotten through, just ended a marriage and just didn't know what I was going to do in my life. So this organization has literally changed my life.
And if you wouldn't mind sharing, thank you, Siobhan. If you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of what you do outside of the scope of Real Women, you're welcome to do that, child.
Yep. So I am an audit director by trade. My natural gift is a coach. I am a trained coach. So, and I call myself the You Relationship Coach, which means I am passionate about people having a healthy relationship with themselves that fosters healthy relationships with other people.
Thank you, ma'am. So glad to have you. Nefertaria, baby girl. Hey.
Hey, y'all. So my name is Nefertaria McBride. I am from Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. That is a small city northwest of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am a mother of 2 beautiful young ladies and a grandmother of 1, the most precious grandbaby ever. Like Siobhan, I am also an audit director. I am a minister. I am a warrior. That's who I am. I came to Real Women the 2nd month after it started. So I've been with Real Women since October of 2013. And as Siobhan said, it has literally changed my life. I came to Real Women just broken, a divorced woman. My youngest had just left for college. I was a new empty nester. I had no clue who I was and what I was supposed to be doing. So this organization has really helped me to get grounded, really come into who I am and stand up tall in who I am. So it's been literally life-changing.
Thank y'all so much for those words. And I have to say, you know, you all have been there from the beginning. And even though, you know, I was there a month before you when it started, it has been life-changing for me as well. And just the community that we've been able to build, like we've really been helping each other. And I love that there's no big I and no little you within Real Women, because everybody has what they bring to the table is worth its weight in gold, because there's something, every woman that comes has something to offer someone else. So thank you all for sharing that. We've got a ton of people with us. I'm so excited. Denise is here, Candace is here. So we are gonna dig in, y'all. We wanna talk about what it means to master you. And I started this conversation with you all, I guess we started it last week on Tuesday, because we just got a little idea of what you know about you, just a little bit. And I really wanted to keep that conversation going with you all, because I called you all last week the architects of all of this stuff, because I really hadn't grasped it the way that you all presented it to us until I think we were in Candace Camille's place when you first begun talking about it. And so I guess I would just start by asking you to give us some insight into what it means to get to know you. Like where do we start with this process of talking about getting to know ourselves? Why is it even important?
So this process started for me in therapy. So I got to give a shout out to my therapist, Keith Thompson, who really illuminated this process for me, because I was in a space where very critical of myself, very judgmental, and just dealing with a lot of internal chaos and turmoil, and I didn't have peace. And so I would hear people say, you got to love yourself, you got to love yourself. But I got frustrated because I didn't know what that looked like. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? You know, I thought I was loving myself, you know, but I needed some practical steps. So when he introduced this concept of just looking at the different pieces of me, I went home and I just started to write down characteristics about myself, things that I recognized within me. And then I just started to dissect from there. And it just made it so much better for me to understand how I'm wired, why I do the things that I do. And then the next step for me was just to offer acceptance to all those parts, like the pieces that were moody, the pieces that cut people off and you know, mistreated people, and the pieces that were self-centered, and the pieces that were creative and smart and intelligent. You know, just to look at how I was wired holistically and to offer acceptance to all of that. And I was like, okay, I'm not crazy, you know, because I thought I was about to go crazy. But it just gave me a deeper level of understanding for myself that I had never experienced before. Yeah. And so that's what it looked like for me to really get to know who I am, was just dissecting who I was, the characteristics of me.
Yeah. Before you start, Neff, you said something that I thought was important. I mean, all of it was really good, but I love the idea of, you said, I felt like I was going crazy.
Yeah.
And I think what ends up happening is, if we don't know ourselves, if we don't know, you know, who we are, what we love, what we don't like, you know, if we don't know ourselves well from the inside out, we will feel like we are going crazy, because we will be driven to honoring the whims of everybody else in our lives, or just always confused about what decision to make and all of that, because we don't really know who we are. And so that doesn't help us walk down any clear path for any length of time. And so what I end up saying to you all sometimes is, at the beginning of hearing you all share this with me, it sounded a little spooky and crazy to me, but I figure since I was going cuckoo anyway, I might as well figure me all out anyway. In the midst of all the craziness. So before you start, Neff, I want to ask you all in the chat to please share with us, do you feel like you are one-dimensional, or do you feel like there are multiple dimensions of you? Like what different parts of you are there? What different characteristics or personalities come out as a result of what's happening in your life? you know? So talk about the multi-dimensions of you in the chat while we ask Neff, same question basically. Why do you feel like it's so important to know yourself? And maybe even what's the danger in not knowing yourself?
Okay. So our processes for how we got to that space were similar, but different at the same time. So when I came to Real Women, I knew that I was Zaz and Jay's mom. I knew that I was Delcine and Ernest's daughter. I knew that I was Janice McBride's granddaughter, but I did not know after divorce and after being an empty nester who I was. So the process started for me from a slightly spiritual perspective. In church one day, my pastor, and now I understand he got it from counseling, that he was talking about the three parts of us, understanding that, you know, there is body, there is soul and spirit, and learning to identify how each part of you is showing up. So I started there with just the three parts, naming who represented the spirit for me and who represented my body or my flesh. That's Samantha, y'all. That's the sex part of me. And then who represented my soul, which I identified as Tasha. That's the part that for me that has existed from the very beginning. So I started with those three parts. Then I ended up going to the same counselor. So then that began the journey of me really pulling back the layers. Okay, I know I'm multidimensional, but I got some other pieces in here that are showing up, that some part shows up differently at work. And then there's a part that will punch you in your throat. Understand? Like there's a part that if you press the right button and if you mess with my family, that is Nene. She will come out and I will bring the fire. Yep. That part of me is there too. So it was really starting to, okay, I understand that I'm quick-tempered because of that part. And this is why I've struggled in relationships because of this part. So for me, one, it helped me to really understand myself, but then I took a step back and understood why I functioned the way that I did at times, because I didn't know myself. Right. That, you know, when you grow up in church, you know, we're really taught to suppress that sexual, fleshly part of us. But when I was trying to suppress her and not learn, and I didn't know how to manage her, she acted out. Yeah. Yes. So the danger in not knowing yourself is that sometimes you act out and you show up in unhealthy ways in different situations because you don't have a clue of who you are.
Yes, you got to let me jump in. You got. I'm doing like double dutch. I'm trying to jump in. Child. Okay, so we could stay there for a minute, but let me just say, the problem, what oftentimes happens is that whole suppression piece. It is so serious because if we don't acknowledge, recognize, and honor all the parts of us, what happens is and I'll just speak for me personally as a godly woman who has been trying to live right all my life and still not succeeded, you know, but in the process of trying to do everything what is quote unquote the right way, because I was not taught to acknowledge that part of me coming into marriage or relationship, you don't even know like who you are in any sense other than whatever you've been allowed to be exposed, you know? So just being able to say, you know, I know that this is here for me and there's nothing wrong. This is what I would love for church people to say. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that part of you. God put it there. It's there for a reason. Get to know it. Get to know who you are in a sensual sense, in a sexual sense, just so that you know who that person is, so that you're not ashamed of her or feeling regretful that that's a part of you, and you'll be able to fully express that. Y'all, we could just go a whole lot of places. Anyway, so
I want to make that real for them, right? Because we are real women, right?
Yes, please.
So, not really understanding the sexual aspect of me, that sexual part of me. So I went into marriage and it was an unhealthy relationship. So 2 years into marriage, he was having an affair. he had stopped sleeping with me. So here I am, like 27 years old in a marriage. This is not the fairy tale. This is not the way it's supposed to work. And not understanding, okay, so what do I do now with the fire inside of me when, okay, it's legal now. I have authorization to do it, but now we are not doing it. Like, what do I do with that? And because I didn't have the self-awareness, I stepped out on my marriage.
Yeah.
That's my truth.
Right.
Because I didn't know how to manage that part of me.
Yes, that's the word, manage. So I love, because that's what kept coming up for me when you all presented this first in the PG circle, and we got questions we ain't even got to yet. Bless our hearts. But I love that because it is about management. You cannot be an effective anything without learning management, right? So on your job, everybody's looking to the manager, or everybody's looking to see what, how are we organizing things? And a manager, a person who is a manager, if anybody is on the chat right now, as a manager, you are getting to know your employees. You're getting to know the procedures and the processes so that you can see how to work them more efficiently and more effectively. You got to know yourself like that. We've got to study ourselves to the point where we can manage ourselves. And what happens is, if we don't manage ourselves, oh baby girl, somebody else will. And that's what, go ahead, Siobhan.
I was gonna say, jumping in on that part when you said somebody else will, that was my thing. So because I wasn't managing myself, I was looking for people outside of me to manage me. So I was looking for men to do it. I was looking for them to tell me I was special and significant. I was looking for other people in authority to tell me, oh, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. So I was feeling pulled in so many different directions, feeling like I was all over the place, scattered, because I hadn't taken the time to look within to figure out who I am and how I'm wired. So I was depending upon all these people, and it was impacting my mood. One day I would be happy, one moment I would be sad, because I was, allowing these people to control me instead of me really taking the time, to manage.
This is good. So I need to ask this, and I'll put a question to you all. Y'all talking in the chat anyway. I love how active y'all is in the chat. So let me, so if y'all see any that you want to read out loud, please go ahead. I want to make sure I honor the conversation that we're supposed to be having, because y'all got me excited now. I know Sanita said management is key, and Rashida said it. Real ministry is ministering to people where they really are and dealing with the real stuff that they're dealing with. The need to differentiate the me before the breast cancer versus now. That's good, Deborah. So there's a different you when tragedy and trauma happens. You become and I know you have evolved as a result of that too, Neff, just figuring out who you are as a result. Do you want to say anything about that?
So next month, it'll be a year since my grandmother, my mama, who helped to raise me, has passed away. And this grief process has literally transformed me. It has given me a deeper level of self-awareness. It has given me the freedom to say, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that anymore. So it has taken me to a place of really learning how to honor myself and all the pieces of me, and give myself love and grace. And it has been a process. It has been a process that has literally transform me.
That's good. Yeah, and Sanita said grief will transform you.
Yes, it will.
Yeah. I love what. Go ahead, Siobhan.
I was going to say, I love what Aunt Talea said. She says, Neff, I can manage, but I was taught not to acknowledge it. I think I've managed. And I think that is so key, because that adds to that suppression. Like, I'm not supposed to feel this way. I'm not supposed to behave like this. So I'm not going to even acknowledge that I'm doing this or feeling this way, because I've been taught that was wrong.
Right.
And so it's just transforming and training our mind, retraining our minds to think differently, and just not to feel so wrong and bad about everything that we do and feel, because it's there. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
It's going to act out, if you don't acknowledge that it is there.
Yep, absolutely. So I want to just drop in this conversation that we are talking about this, because every time we talk about this, there are layers and layers that can be uncovered, and we never have enough time. We will not tonight. We never have enough time to uncover all of the different parts of what it means to get to know you better. And I do have a couple more questions for you all, but I want you all here to know that we just decided, you know what? We're just going to do a master class just on this, because it's so important. There's so many things that are connected to us knowing ourselves fully. Every part of our success in careers, success in relationships, success in your spiritual walk, just so many everything about your life first is connected to how comfortable you are with the you that God gave you. You know, like how well do you know her? How well do you honor her? And the management piece is not about saying to every, you know, it's about talking to and getting to know and communicating with the different parts of you so that you'll know what's behind that. And I'll put it this way. We want to help you understand how to give yourself the same grace and gift of understanding and love that you would give anybody else.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really what we're trying to help you. The same way you want to know and love the partner, the romantic partner that you have. You want to know and love your family members, your children, your husband, all of. We want you to know yourself that well, to honor yourself that well. And so on April 13th, for a good 3-4 hours or so, you're going to get a wealth of just a methodical, laid out, clearly defined way in which you can get to know you. And so this conversation is just the beginning of that. So I wanted to ask you all in the chat, we're asking the same question. I'd love to know if you think, because you know we could get in trouble, but we probably already have with some folks around here. With bless their hearts. And so, do you believe that knowing the different parts of you gives you an excuse to misbehave? Like, does it give you an excuse to hurt each other? I'll give you an example. We were talking about it last week, and you know, some people saying, well, you know, this is the mean side of me, or this is the, you know, so I'm just gonna let the mean side of me out today, that kind of thing. How do we manage the parts of us without dishonoring all of us that may not be the most positive?
Yeah. So I think that can be tough. You can choose to do that if you want to. So I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for doing that. But there are some repercussions to that. You know, there are some consequences if you just want to let that part of you just run wild, because that means, one, you're not only impacting whoever you're talking to, but you're impacting yourself, because there are other parts of you that are not going to be in agreement. So it causes inner turmoil. So then you're disrupting your peace because you're letting one part run rampant and you're choosing not to manage. Like that was my experience. I let that sensual, sexual part just run rampant. This is what you're going to do. And just disregarding all the other parts, when really I was feeling something. My inner child was feeling something, but my sexual part wanted to soothe her. And it's like, it was causing more conflict within me, because that wasn't the solution. That wasn't it. My inner child needed to be comforted, you know? And so when you do that, you just cause more discord and more disconnection within yourself, because then you start feeling regret, and then you start, you know, creating havoc in your relationships. And so it just creates a whole nother thing, you know, because we're just choosing not to deal with something, you know, it's just avoidance.
Yes.
And what we've learned is you can just let whatever part come out or piece come out and run rampant or do whatever. But once we have pulled back the layer, right, and we have an awareness that these other pieces of us exist, they are not going to remain silent. They are not going to remain silent. At some point, it's going to manifest some way, somehow. So for me, the Neff part of me is the manager, the director. She's in charge. She likes to tell everybody what to do. She wants to maintain control. So in this grief process, you know, I had got to a space where Neff felt like we were okay. Okay, we are coming up on a year. We are okay. We got this. We know how to ride the waves of grief when they come in. We know how to manage the grief burst. the little girl in me that was missing her mama, that Neff had suppressed. And okay, you just not gonna say anything. We got this. I'm good. I'm putting back on my Superwoman cape. We good. That little girl kicked my butt.
Yeah.
She showed up at work one day. I couldn't type. I was sitting at my desk crying. There was nothing I could do. And it happened because I hadn't allowed her to speak. I hadn't allowed her to really share in that moment. Like, I am hurt. Yeah. Yes, it's been almost a year, but I am hurt.
Yeah.
And because I didn't allow that part of me to speak and manifest and try to contain it in the little box and keep it nice and neat, she showed up in a mighty way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That
she
is
kicked my
so
butt to the point that I had to leave work that day because I couldn't even function.
Yeah. That is so good. What I heard you saying is they are not only are they going to show up, but they will show out if you don't honor and give them space and time to be heard. And one of the suggestions that you all gave that I have taken on wholeheartedly, because we're gonna go to the chat in a minute. So if y'all could check and see if there's anything you want to lift up. But what I gathered from the very beginning of this, I was like, oh God, I don't even know where to start. And that may be where some folks are feeling, you know, when y'all talk real experienced about knowing yourself, you know, so I don't even know where to start. But I think the encouragement I got from you all was just start writing out some characteristics or journaling about who you are and what things come up for you. And I started doing that for myself. And what I realized was literally the creative part of me had been buried so low and deep. And it had been trying to seep in through even my administration of things, because I was trying to find creative ways to come up with topics and this kind of thing. But I'm a singer, I'm an actress, I'm a writer, I'm a creative person. And whenever that person rose up in me, those thoughts, and I'm thinking, oh, this is multiple personalities, what is going on? But whenever I would burst into tears thinking, and I was grieving, literally, hear me, grieving the fact that I had allowed that part of me to wither away. I don't even want to call it die, because I resuscitated her. She is being resuscitated, but I allowed her to wither away. She was being malnutrition. She was malnutrition because I had not been feeding her. And so sometimes it's not the good versus the bad or the part of you. It's really just, what parts of you have you not been nurturing that want to, to express, to be expressive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, right. It does. I just bought that little girl a baby doll. Because I understand in this season, I need to take care of her in a different way.
Yeah, that's good. A lot of folks, y'all see anything? We have to allow ourselves to grieve whatever we've lost. It could be marriage or death. There is a time to cry and be happy. Allow yourself to heal from the outside. Absolutely. Addie said, I've always thought that knowing oneself is only the first part of the journey, with the ultimate goal of being our best selves, right? The hope is that our best selves are beautiful, and so showing up fully. So showing up fully is a beautiful sight, and not one that's hurting and angry and mean. Our best selves are like light. So when we come out fully, we shine. And that is so true, Addie. What I think happens is, I just had this conversation with Neff recently, and I was sharing with her that, I'm in such a great space in my life. Like, it doesn't mean that things aren't happening that I would like not to happen the way that they are, but I'm in such a great space. And it's because I hopefully, if you don't know me, you don't know my heart, but hopefully you know that this is not braggadocious at all. I'm learning to manage me well enough to the point where I'm like, okay, so this little part of what's not going well is not going to break all of us down. We are not going to be fully broken down because of this thing that's happening in our lives. And I want management for all of us. Like, I cannot say well enough. I want us to feel like, you know what? And I don't believe that happens in isolation. I just need to say that. I don't believe you can just decide, I'm going to get myself together. I was just talking to a girlfriend today, and she was like, I've done it on my own for as long as I can. I need to reach out now. When can we talk? You know, it's that kind of thing. It's like you might be able to, like a cell phone, you might be able to hold out for a little while, but soon you're going to lose some battery enough where you need to recharge.
Yeah.
So this is just the tip of the freaking iceberg.
We ain't even talk about relationships and stuff yet.
Oh my God. So can I just start off by saying, and then I'm gonna open it up to y'all to say whatever you want to say, whether you want to just share something about what to expect at the masterclass, or any last words, any takeaways you want to give folks who are wrestling with this right now. My first thought that I want to share is consider going to the link that is in our heading, and it is rwu101.eventbrite.com, so that you can register for our masterclass. This masterclass is going to help you from the very beginning. You may hear all of this conversation and you're like, I don't even know what the different parts of me are. So we starting all the way from the beginning. We're going to go from the rooter to the tutor. When it comes to you feeling comfortable with this topic, so that you can best know yourself and who you are, so that you can come to whatever situation and circumstance in your life, as Addie said, being your best you, because you're able to manage it all. Any thoughts you all have?
You know, I just want to encourage somebody. Like for me, I used to live, like I said before, with so much judgment. When I tell you so much doubt, so much self-judgment, condemnation, just guilt, shame, beating myself up on a regular basis. And it was causing me to live like this. Even though I was doing stuff, you know, on the outside, on the inside, I was feeling like this. And I just couldn't figure it out. Like I would pray, I would read scriptures, and nothing was working. But this has really helped me to understand who I am, and it has brought about so much peace. And I feel more grounded spiritually, just personally, just emotionally. I feel more grounded, and I feel like I have more facility with myself, and I'm having more fun because I'm getting to know the different parts of me. Like last year was the first time that I could really say I lived my life.
Girl, and you lived your best life last year.
Yeah, but it was like, and so it was just like, I'm tired of living with all this stuff that I have put on me, and I just want to live, you know? And so that's what I chose to do. But it was as a result of this work that I am continuing to do within myself. And so I admonish you, if you have been living just feeling low and just depressed and just don't know what you're going to do, don't know why things haven't been working out for you relationally, and just can't get traction with your life, I admonish you to come to this masterclass. I get it. I know how you feel, because that was me. But we want to support you. We want to help you start this journey. It's not going to fix everything or heal everything, but it's going to give you tools that you can use to walk this thing out. I'm telling you, it'll change your life, because nobody's talking about this. I thank God for my therapist, you know, that helped me to understand. And I just ran with it. He gave me one little concept, and I just ran with it. And I'm telling you, just come. If you don't understand, you think we're crazy. If you think, you know, just come. We'll explain everything. We'll walk you through the process so that it can be practical for you and make sense. So just come.
And they did it for me. So if they did it for me, they can do it for you too. I'm a witness. Go ahead, Nuff. I'm sorry.
I don't even got nothing to add, girl. That thing I might give her an offer. I might give her an offer. Yes.
Freedom for people. So it's like,
oh, that's good. Okay. Well, let me look at some of the comments.
That's a good word. I am experiencing a freedom that I have never ever experienced before. There is peace. I have learned, because I have dissected myself and then learned to align myself holistically. I am living from my core. Like I show up authentically, whether it is at work, in Real Women, whatever. I show up authentically because we have done this work. And it has taken me to a place of love
Yes.
that I have never ever experienced before for myself.
Yes.
Like, for me.
Yes.
I thought that I was loving a man and I thought that I was loving my kids, but when you experience this level of self-love, it changes the game for all of your relationships.
Because nobody can give you this. We've been looking for it from a man and other people. Nobody can give us this kind of love right here. Like you can't find it nowhere else.
And I can offer a different level of love and acceptance to y'all because of where I'm functioning from.
Yes.
That's what we're going to help you get if you come to this class.
Woo! Lord have mercy. I felt that all the way through here. And I'm so serious. It is so real because you stop pretending like everything is okay. The magic that I have learned from you, Neff, is it's okay to not be okay and to honor your feelings in that moment, because you don't get past not being okay until you acknowledge where you are so that you can process those feelings and then move on to a better space and time. And so I just, showing up authentically is what you all have taught me over and over again and have challenged me to do, and I'm so grateful. There are so many comments in here, y'all. I can't even mess with them all. Y'all, so we can do this a million times over. I'm gonna just be asking them, so when can y'all do this again? So it's not often, because all of us are real women in it and doing other things. So one is not doing something over there, one is doing it over here. So to get three of us in the same space is awesome. And so I want to honor you all's time as it relates to dinner and family and work, other things that you have to do. And we try to stick to about 30 minutes for this. We want to encourage you strongly to attend the U101 Masterclass. Some of you have said you're going to be attending, and y'all have so many awesome comments in here. We even want you to come, because anything that Real Women does, it's not an opportunity for you to just hear one or two people talk to you. It really is. We believe that the wisdom of the collective, of the community, is why we're together. And so you have something to share. You've already shown it in the chat right now. You have something to share that somebody else needs to hear. And maybe even you need to open yourself up, as Neff said, to love on yourself a little bit better and hear some of your own words of love ministered back to you. And so we would love to have you join us. In addition to that, every Saturday, except for fifth Saturdays of the month, you can attend a local sister circle in the DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia, and Hampton Roads area. One of those areas, there is a sister circle for you. And so we really hope to see each of and every one of you in person with our existing sister circles. But if we don't, if you feel like you live too far away and you don't want to take the weekend trip, we understand. We're coming to you. Our goal is to create safe spaces across the country and abroad so that every woman has a sister circle and a safe space. Until then, we have an all access community that is absolutely freaking amazing, because we are there for each other no matter where we live, no matter what time of day or night. There is always someone who's tuned in our closed groups and in our virtual sister circles who is able to support you in whatever you're going through and dealing with. Y'all got any last words before we say night to these folks? I see some good stuff in here. Sell my 30 minutes.
I do want to address this because Sandra Bowen said this, and I don't want people to misunderstand what we're trying to say. We're not saying that scripture doesn't work, prayer doesn't work, and Jesus doesn't work. What we're saying is there are some things that we have to do in addition to the spiritual work. Sometimes we just focus on the spiritual and ignore the emotional aspect and the soul part of us. We're trying to introduce you to using all of your tools in your toolbox, the spiritual tools and the emotional tools, and bringing them together, working together. And sometimes I think we just use one and then we try to figure out why there's still so much going on within us because we're not using everything. So,
and if Shalaika, please add to that because I didn't look at the chat as I didn't see that part of the chat. But I am, here we go. I'm saved and sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, fire baptized, running on, see what the end is going to be. I'm all of that.
Yes.
But I have lived and I have seen live before me defeated Christian lives.
Yeah.
Where we are saved and going to heaven, but we have no victory down here on earth.
Yeah.
And every day is a woe is me day, and Jesus is gonna fix it and it's gonna work it out. When Jesus is not intending for us to live broken and busted and disgusted down here on earth. He wants us to live abundantly here on earth as it is in heaven. So I am purposed in my life to live a victorious life here on earth, and I can't do that being so spiritually minded that I'm no earthly good.
Right.
There's a whole lot to me, just as there are different parts and functions and faces of God. He has given us multi-dimensions. And in order for me to have victory in every area of my life and in every dimension of who I am, I have to address practically each one of those.
Right. Yeah.
And
Go
I
ahead.
was about to say, and sometimes life hurts, right? And we hold trauma in our souls.
Yes.
So spiritually, there are some things that I'm being fed by the word, but there are some things when you have been traumatized in your soul that you need to work through. This is soul work.
This is soul.
This is soul work. So for me, it is a combination of the spiritual plus the soul work.
Yeah. And let me just say there are some people, because this is probably connected to that there are some people who may know me or you, Neff, or maybe even you, Siobhan, who only know us in one sector of our life. Right? Yeah. And so you only know me as the preacher. So I will probably scare the mess out of you. If you see me in other areas of my life, but this is what I have learned to do over these last few years with Real Women. It's called integration. So you're not gonna see a different Trinace over there as in here. I'm being respectful of where I am, and I believe that there is I call it EPMD. I have my spiritual practice that's in place for me. There are spiritual disciplines that are in place because they keep me grounded. I also need my Real Women sisters to just talk, to just process, to just, without cracking open the Bible, we need to talk. We just need to process.
Yeah. And I need to go to therapy.
Right.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Yes. I need a counselor every now. Somebody said God created therapy. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Okay. So I think we've addressed all of those things, and we've gotten in trouble and then out of trouble again. So I am just right. So I am so appreciative of y'all. Y'all can get me in trouble any day of the week. I love it. We encourage you all to check us out at our website is realwomenrock.org. If somebody with Real Women would just put that in the chat, realwomenrock.org is our website. And then we also